Hello YouTube, thanks for stopping by my channel. And in this video I want to talk about loneliness. That came to mind today. And it seems that it's an epidemic, loneliness. And it's not just in the United States, but it's happening worldwide. In Japan, China, there's some other countries too that have the problem of people being lonely, and some countries are dealing with it. I know Japan has addressed it because it's a big part of their issue in their community. I think Singapore has it, I believe, as well. And so I wanted to touch on it, and maybe perhaps whoever's listening to this video is experiencing loneliness right now. You feel lonely, and there's a difference between being alone and loneliness. Being alone is the physical part. Like for me, I'm in my truck, I'm alone. But then loneliness is that feeling, that emotional feeling that we have, and we feel it from time to time. And I can remember when my time in the military, getting to a new duty station or starting a new school, military school. You're at a new place, you don't know anybody, they put you in an army barrack, and you feel alone. You feel all alone there. And sometimes we can even be in a large group, a large crowd, and feel lonely. I've experienced that. You don't even know anybody. You're surrounded by all these people and you're alone. You feel lonely. And I've even heard people say that, well, it's better to be alone than to be with somebody that makes you feel alone. And being a single person, and have always been single, never been married, I do a lot of things alone. And I even heard married people telling me there's times where they feel alone. One of the spouses feel alone. Loneliness. And we have all this social media where we're connected now. We're so connected, but yet we are still disconnected. And I think maybe even making us feel even more lonely. Older people, a lot of older people feel lonely. Haven't had human touch, interaction in so long. But it's happening across all ages. People are alone. And I feel it, being alone. I live alone. I live all alone in a home. And I think maybe it can even be a bit, what's the word? Not contagious, but addicting. Addicting, because you're so used to being alone. It can be peaceful. You have no stress. You can come and go, do what you want to do. You don't have to deal with the drama, dealing with people. I even seen that bumper sticker, people suck. And sometimes they do. And in today's world, and the craziness and who to trust, oftentimes it can be a temptation to want to be a recluse and just be alone. Don't bother me, just leave me alone attitude. And if that's somebody's choice, then that's their choice. But for some people, it would be preferred that it was not their choice. And so it's this issue, this paradox of dealing with the craziness of the world and being alone, and yet oftentimes you feel lonely and you miss connection with people. And I feel that, not feeling connected with anybody, not being intimate with somebody. Well, for the last time that I've dated was 2016. So that was the last time I had ever had any interaction with the opposite sex and being intimate and physical, believe it or not. When's the last time I personally have gotten a hug and connected with somebody? 2016 that's too long. And I recognize that's simply not healthy as a man or as a woman, as a human. When we crave intimacy and connection. So I know that's not good. That's not healthy. And so what do you do? How do you handle that? How do you break out of that period of loneliness? Sometimes being alone is by choice, and it's a good thing, where someone just needs a break and they go off on a trip for a week just by themselves to recharge, to rejuvenate. So there's periods where it's just good to just get away from people, to be alone. That's a good thing. But to continuously live a life in loneliness and solitude may not necessarily be healthy. Again, some people choose that life of solitude. What is it? His name was Dick Brennicky, Alone in the Wilderness, and he went off and built a cabin on his own and lived off the land all by himself for many, many years. Had a PBS special on him. You can look him up, Dick Brennicky, Alone in the Wilderness. But I think in the long run, it's not good. It's not good for me. And that ache and hunger and something's missing. You're not getting fulfilled and your needs aren't being met in many ways. And so how do I solve it? How do we solve this problem of loneliness? And it's one of those problems that we can't fix necessarily on our own. We need somebody else to help us do it. And so I think it's taking the steps on our own to get out and reach out to people and not wait for someone to reach out to us. And I think that would be a great way to break that cycle of loneliness. And I mean, we know what it's like if somebody calls you to check up on you. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Bill. Haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing? We feel good when somebody reaches out. Let's go do lunch. Let's do this. And so perhaps it's our turn to find those people who are alone and do that and reach out to them. And getting out and doing things, whether it's volunteering. I used to do volunteering for many years. I quit doing it. And getting out and eating and pushing ourselves and getting ourselves out of that comfort zone and interacting with people. And for me to date again. It's been way too long. 2016, that's way too long. And even if would I even know even how to date? And but one of the things that I'm looking at doing is traveling and going abroad. And dating in the United States, it's just been a challenge for everybody. So there's a lot of single men and women out there that would love to meet somebody, but it has just been a hassle. It's been a challenge finding somebody that you can connect with. And there's so much divide now in this country. And with the politics now, they find out that you lean a certain way or vote a certain way, or you didn't get a certain poke in your arm, how that has just absolutely divided us to make dating even more challenging than that has made it a challenge from what I found. And some people are fed up, and it's such a big hassle, and the time and the effort and to go on these dates, and it just a lot of times just leads to nowhere and ends up becoming a waste of time, and you just want to just give up, especially in the United States. And the older you get, the harder it is. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm looking at going abroad to another country where you are a man can be valued. Oftentimes here in the United States, we're not valued as men, but in other places you are. And that's something that I'm looking at. Maybe that can be another opportunity for me to meet somebody that I can connect with. Get out of this United States with all this divide, all this politics, all this BS, all this crap, and just go somewhere else, start fresh and anew. And I know a lot of men are finding success in other places like the Philippines and Malaysia and becoming expats. And I'm seriously considering doing that very thing and just having another crack at this of love and romance and getting connected with the community again. But it's just seems to me here in the United States, it's just an absolute mess. And what I'm finding is that it's just easier just to stay to yourself. Do your own thing, do what you need to do, the freedom to come and go, do what you want, when you want to, and living a life of peace and quiet and freedom, peace of mind. And so there's something to that. And I'm very thankful, I'm very grateful, but yet there's this something's missing, and this ache that goes unfulfilled and weighs on me, and it's not good. It's not good at all. So all the lonely people out there who are listening, you're not alone. For whatever season of life you find yourself in, it's a problem. It's a worldwide problem of loneliness and the impact that it can have on our well-being, maybe even on our physical well-being and health. How loneliness can hurt. It hurts sometimes. And when you go out and about and you see families or you see a couple out together, and you don't have that. And that was one of the things I remember when I was on Facebook. I deactivated my account. I created just a generic account for the Facebook marketplace as I'm continuing to sell my stuff. So I just did this generic fake one and just for fake Facebook marketplace. I wanted to call it Fakebook. That's basically what it is, Fakebook. But that was one thing about Facebook. I would see everybody and their families and their kids and vacations, and it was just depressing to see. I deactivated it, and all the stuff that you see on there. I had enough of that social media stuff. The only thing I have is YouTube, and this gives me a opportunity to talk and speak my mind and share my thoughts, and maybe what I talk about resonates with people as I learn how to do this YouTube thing. And still a learning curve on how to do videos, how to edit, and how to do all the neat things. I wish I need to learn more on how to do it, and but I'm learning as I go in this thing. But anyway, loneliness. You're not alone. It's a problem all around, and we have to do our part and not wait for other people to reach out to us, but we're going to have to reach out to other people. Getting out of our comfort zone, getting uncomfortable. We're going to stumble. I will stumble, especially in the dating scene. I'm going to stumble and fall. But that's okay. And just keep going and keep going until you get back better socializing again. And I think some people naturally are good at socializing. I think due to perhaps maybe their upbringing. Maybe they're just their natural demeanor. Some people naturally have been introverts, that's a word, or loners. They felt out of place, they felt odd, didn't feel understood. And so they grew up that way. And with me, and I think I touched on it in another video on how I grew up fast taking care of a handicapped mom, and how that kept me isolated, where I didn't go and do things when I was growing up, going to school, doing things with my peers. So I wasn't going out at the mall after school with my friends. I wasn't going out with my friends and doing things. I didn't participate in sports. I never dated in high school. Gosh, I never even kissed a girl in school. It was a long time before I even kissed a woman. And so there's a story there. And so that impacted me. And having this feeling of, I went to school and I had to go home to take care of a parent. And I always felt this guilt growing up if I wanted to go do things outside of the home. I felt bad, and I didn't want to, or if something I knew would cost some money, I didn't want to hinder my family with it. So I didn't do the extracurricular activities. I didn't do the sports. And I remember asking my mom one time, I thought, man, I'd like to do the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts. And she said, no, you're needed at home. And I've never forgotten that. And so I always felt this obligation to be home, and stuffed down those things, and wanting to go socialize and be with people my own age. And so I couldn't do the sports. I didn't do the things that my classmates that were doing. And I think that had a tremendous impact in my socialization in those formidable early teen and 20s, in those early years, and messed me up in a little way where I didn't get that. And so I grew up just stuffing down or denying myself. I think that's a good word. I got good at just denying myself. Nope, that's not for me, that's not for me, that's not for me. Nope. And I trained myself to be that way. And I still struggle with it to this day. to where I don't want people to fuss over me. I don't like birthday parties. I don't want you to I always feel guilty that if somebody's trying to do something for me. Even when I left the military, I didn't want a retirement party, or I didn't want any of that. Don't fuss over me. Don't do that for me. I almost as if I'm not deserving of it. And so I think that's a part, and having to, I need to overcome that. So I guess this is kind of like my therapy session, letting this out. And so it makes you awkward, socially awkward, and being around people. And I think that's why I feel, I guess I felt comfortable with older people, because that's who I interacted with the most growing up. It wasn't with my peers. It was either the neighbors, the older neighbors. I was able to go to church on Sunday. And I was the only one in my family that went to church. And my neighbor, she was the Sunday school teacher. And her husband would come and pick me up and drop me and her off at church. Her husband didn't go to church either. And that was like my thing during the week. My escape for the week was going to that church and going to Sunday school and doing that. That was my thing. And of course, the church was mostly older people. So that was my peer group. That was my interaction. And so I wasn't with people my own age. No, I wasn't. And I think that's where I can relate to older folks. And also, I even got my master's degree in gerontology. Gerontology, the study of aging. Isn't that something? And that's what I got my master's degree in when I was in the military. So I wanted to get my master's degree, and that's what I ended up getting it in. And because I knew people were living longer, and that people that has that knowledge, I think, is going to be needed, because people are living longer. And which brings up the point that people aren't marrying as much now anymore in the Western world, developed countries. So we have all these older people with less young people to take care of them. And so that's a big problem too. So that's all I wanted to talk about. It was something that was on my mind, and it's something that I'm working on, actively working on. So I encourage others out there who are lonely, work on it yourself. And reach out if you can. If you know somebody, reach out to them and make those opportunities to reach out and break this cycle of loneliness. And then the men out there too, or even women too, who haven't been on a date in years. I know gentlemen that haven't dated and haven't been with a woman in 10 plus years. And some of those men have moved abroad. And they went to the Philippines. I know some men that are now married, found a nice Filipina lady, and are now married after being alone for so many years. And so that gives me hope. And I know in my heart of hearts, we're not meant to be isolated. We weren't meant to go through this life alone. And for the most part, I have. I'm 51 years old and always have lived alone. And as I said, I've never been married. I've always lived alone. And but I know it's not healthy. And I'm sure people look at me and wonder and scratch their head. But I know it's becoming more and more common. I know I'm not alone. There are many, many people in my age group who live alone. More and more people are. A lot of older men staying single, older women too. And I keep saying men because I'm a man, so I'm looking at it from a male perspective. And but I find hope that these men are going in other places and still having another chance at love and romance, where the women in the United States aren't giving them a chance, but that Filipino woman is. And of course, you got people that say, oh, she's only after the man's money. My thing is, so what? So are American women. It's all about provisioning and security. And women want to feel safe, whether it's here in the United States or when you go to these poorer countries where an American walks off the plane and a Filipino or a Thai girl or wherever you may be looks at you as a man with means, and she knows that man can help take care of her. I don't see anything wrong with that, especially if you're a man who's did well for himself. You have the finances. My thing is you can't take it with you. And so good for that man. You know, a lot of these men, myself included, we're retired, but we're not expired. And a man can go abroad and have another opportunity and still has a lot to offer, even at his age, men older than me. And he can feel like a man again and be a provider and a protector and to be needed. A man wants to feel needed. Nobody needs me here. Who needs me? Who's dependent on me? Nobody. And so some of these guys, they're finding happiness again, and to feel masculine again, and to be given another opportunity to still contribute, instead of a lot of times where here in the States, the man's all alone, invisible. At least when you go abroad, you're not necessarily invisible. And it's another opportunity, and these women in these countries will give that man a chance. And I don't see anything wrong with that at all. And of course, a man has to be careful when he goes abroad. And of course, there are horror stories, so you have to be careful and vet, you know, and that's exactly what I would do. Be careful, Jim. I heard it, I got it, and doing my homework and doing my research, and I'm not going to let somebody take advantage of me or, you know, take me for all I'm worth. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm being very careful. Heck, I've been alone this long. I think I can take the time to vet somebody to make sure that I'm not taken advantage of. And so I'm looking at that as a 51-year-old man who has done well for himself and who still has, in my humble opinion, a lot to offer. And I have to ask myself, do I see myself continuing to live like this? And I know I can't. I'm just going to continue to live. I'm 51 years old. I could still live another 30 plus years. Do I see myself continuing to live all alone for the next 25, 30 plus years or more, just doing my own thing, getting up, you know, where some people say, man, Jim, that sounds awesome. I wish I could do that and just get up and do what I want when I want. You can just pick up, get in your truck and go travel or get on a plane. You could go anywhere and do anything. Yes, that's right. You're absolutely right. And so that's why I am considering picking up and moving abroad and getting out of Ohio. Nothing against Ohio. It's you know, a lot of people, you know, I was raised here, but you know, there's other places besides Ohio. You know, there's other places besides this. There's a whole world out there. And I want to see it. I want to see more. I want to meet new people, get connected again, and get with people in my age group or younger. But what I find, once again, I find myself surrounded by the older population. It's mostly the aged people around where I'm at. Geriatrics, the geriatric ward. And God bless them, they invite me to all of their events and meal. They got these groups and different things, and they reach out to me, and I appreciate it. But here I am, a single male, keeping my eyes open for someone to date, and it's all old ladies. I'm like, what am I going to do with these old women? It's like, it's like you got to go where the other women are that are either your age or preferably younger. And so you got to go. You got to leave. You got to get out of here, Jim. I tell myself that. And so, but right now what keeps me stuck here is a home. And so I'm having to go through that and navigate the liquidation of things and downsize, and maybe just find a studio 1-bedroom apartment for now, and be a part-time expat where I split my time between the United States and living abroad, and start it out that way and still have my home base here, something that I can easily close up and go for months at a time, and go spend a month or two in Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Portugal, Romania. Hearing great things from other men. I get on their YouTube channels, and they're giving their reports and living abroad and sharing it. And I'm like, man, that's awesome, man. And they're living it's more economical to live in some of these places, and they're meeting beautiful ladies and meeting nice people, and they're getting connected, and they got a sense of community again, and romance again, and intimacy again with the opposite sex. And some of those men are having children for the first time, even at their age, and they never thought that would ever happen to them. And just a new life and a new sense of purpose, and a new life and a second chance, and they're not looking back. They have no interest in coming back here to this United States and all the divide. And one person said, yeah, I have no interest in going back to that place. The U.S. right now is an absolute dumpster fire. I ain't going back there. And all that politics and bullshit, I have no interest in it. I'm staying right here in Philippines, or what the other person was in Romania. Found a beautiful woman in Romania, and where he lives, it's still traditional, still that traditional, and how family's important. But here in the United States, man, it's a damn. One other person told me it's an absolute shit show. I'll use their language, and you know what, I would agree with them. And I get so frustrated with all the BS. And you try and you do go out, and I have tried to date, and I'm like, I don't even know why I even continue trying. And those dating apps are crap. And my suggestion to people, stay off those damn dating apps. It's a mess on that thing. And you're better off just meeting people in in person. And good luck trying that, and not being called a creep, or don't bother me, or they're pulling out their earbuds or something and you're bothering them, and it's just like, geez, can't even say hi to people. And everybody's in their own little lanes, and scowls on their face, and grocery stores and places that you think would be a nice place to meet people, they're not, unless you're that guy. Unless you're that guy. So that's where I'm at as a single male. here in 2024 in Ohio. And so I think for me, that's going to be a great start. It's just getting out of here and starting fresh and anew, and go to other greener pastures out there, and get something rocking and rolling, get something going, create something, build something. And all I know is it ain't happening here. It ain't happening here. It ain't happening amongst the soybeans and the cornfields and the Buckeye trees. Ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's a good place if you're an older person, I guess, and you just want a nice, quiet, easy, laid back life. Sure, I got it made in the shade here. It's easy, lower cost of living. I've got a home. I got a lot of great things, but what else? I mean, I'm like, there's got to be more than this. And so that's where I'm at. But it's not a lost cause. So don't feel sorry for me, and this and that. I appreciate any suggestions, but just know that I'm actively doing this. I'm actively making these plans to go and see and do and reach out and meet and getting this thing rolling, because I know it falls on me, and to reach out to people and be more assertive and more aggressive and take those chances out there and talk to people and talk to the opposite sex, and whatever shakes out. Big deal. If I fail, I fail. Get back up, go again, and break through this awkwardness until it smooths out, and eventually you will succeed. I know I will succeed eventually. And the beauty of it all is I've got a great foundation. I've got a good, the financial backing of being military retired is huge. And still, I haven't lost half of my assets before or anything like that, where I've still in a position to, in the financial front, health front, I'm healthy, I'm fit, still able to do things in every sense of the way. Everything works on me. Everything is, I'm on 0 medications. I don't even take a multivitamin, and just in a very good spot. And I think if I put myself in the right places and maybe change the dress, the attire, get out there, and some nice clothes and maybe some nice cologne or whatever, and I'm sure I could be successful out there. I'm sure I could. And so I know this. And so that's a good thing. So I'm overcoming my loneliness, my spell of no dating, no intimacy. And I know it's like, dang, has it been 2000? How long has it been, Jim? 2016. And a lot of men will be out there like, what? Jim, I don't think I could go a month or two. Holy shit. 2016, Jim? This last time you've been with somebody? 2016. And not good. But at least I know I'm capable. I'm capable. And so I've gone this long. And I know I'm a guy who, I was always a one-woman guy. You know that? When I was dating, I can honestly say I never cheated on anybody. I never cheated on anyone. And if I was dating somebody, I was okay with it. It's like, why would I ruin it? I have this person. Why would I cheat on them? I just never understood that. And when you're dating somebody. And so I can honestly say that. Never in my life have I ever cheated on anyone. Never had a rotation or dating multiple women. I was never that guy. But looking back on it, I wish I was that guy. And the crazy thing is, it never even occurred to me to do that. Never thought to do something like that. Nope. If I was dating somebody, that was it. I was just dating that person and seeing where it went. And that's it. And then if it didn't go anywhere, then I dated somebody else. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but sharing a little bit about myself in this thing. And I know I'm not the only one. That's why I don't feel bad sharing this stuff. A lot of people look at me like, man, that poor guy, or man, he's weird, or wow, must be something wrong there. No. I know I'm not the only one. There's other people just like me, and I share it. And so we're all going through this thing together, man. We're all on the same planet, this terrestrial ball floating in space, in this round ball in this thing called life, trying to get through it. You know, even David Goggins, he even said, all of us are fucked up. All of us got issues. Just some people do a better job of hiding it than others. Don't we all? And I'm one of them. Going through my issues, and I did a good job, did well hiding it. And I was a military man, 23 years. I did well in the military, and perhaps that might have been my socialization. That was my family. That's what got me up. That was my purpose. And I knew people depended on me, especially if I was in a leadership role. And so they were my family, and I gave it my all to them. And so being the single soldier in a leadership role, I could easily put in the extra time and burn the midnight oil. I'm pronouncing my words, midnight oil. I could put in the extra time to do the paperwork or deal with the issues or getting things done, because I had nobody at home waiting on me anyway. And so I was oftentimes the last vehicle leaving the parking lot when I was in the military and working. And volunteered for the staff duty on a holiday or on a weekend, which allowed families to spend time with their families on a holiday. How many times Christmases and Easters and New Year's I spent on 24-hour staff duty, answering the phones and all that. I did that multiple times. And so that was my mission. And so I wasn't lonely. And then, of course, the military always had things going on, or there was events going on and barbecues, and people would invite other people to their houses, so I would go to those. So I had that interaction. And I was also volunteering during that time in the military, so I was getting out and I was volunteering at the local food banks and helping package food in the backpack program for the kids and for their lunches. And I was actively involved in that for many years. And because I had a truck, I would go and pick up food stuff, pickups for food, and take it to the pantry. And so I did that. I used to belong to the Lions Club, and I was part of the convalescent equipment group, where we would go and pick up used wheelchairs and lift chairs and canes and walkers and mechanical beds, and we would refurbish them. And then anybody in the community who needed that type of equipment, they could reach out to the Lions Club, and we would allow those people to use that stuff absolutely free of charge. And the only thing is when they were done with it, to return it. So that was a great little bit of a ministry there that I belonged to. And they were, once again, mostly older adults. And how many mechanical beds that raised, and the lift chairs for people we had, they could have it and use it absolutely free. And there would be people we would bring that stuff to, no family around. These people were really in dire need. Older people, again, all alone. And some of those people would break down in tears and crying, and so thankful and grateful that we brought that stuff to them, that they could actually use it. And there was one gentleman, he was literally sleeping on the floor, and it looked like one of those inflatable floaties that you would have in the pool to lay on. He had one of those things on the floor. He was sleeping on that air mattress thing, but it looked like it belonged in a swimming pool. And he was sleeping on that floor. Unbelievable. And we brought him that bed. Oh, anyhow. Again, I go off on tangents. But anyway, that's all I wanted to share. Hang in there, lonely people. And find a way to get yourself out of it. I'm there with you, and I'm actively working on it. So hopefully maybe later on I could post a video as I progress in my loneliness journey and getting out there and meeting people, and maybe even be able to find some romance again. Someone that I could literally, truly, genuinely connect with. She's into me as I'm into her, and it actually works out for me. Wouldn't that be a great video post, huh? And but you never know. So I'll keep you updated on it, and in my progression and how I navigate this topic of loneliness. Well, anyway, until we meet again. That's the lake behind me, Lake Erie. I was out walking around over here by the lake. The sound of the water, I don't know if you can even hear it. Very therapeutic. I love the water. And come out here and walk and get lost in thought. Talk to you guys later. Take care. Be safe out there.